It was supposed to be an ordinary evening at an upscale restaurant. Polished tables, sparkling glasses, and the soft hum of conversation. But what happened next left everyone stunned. A young waiter, looking flustered, walked up to a well-dressed woman enjoying her dinner. Without warning, he tilted a pitcher of water, and in an instant, it spilled all over her, soaking her elegant dress. The woman's face froze in shock, the cold water dripping down as silence swept across the room. Was it an accident, or something more? The waiter's expression told one story, but the whispers from nearby tables hinted at another. Within minutes, the situation escalated, drawing the attention of the restaurant's manager and even other guests. What happened in those next 5 minutes turned the entire night upside down. Stick around to see how justice found its way to the woman who refused to be overlooked. The woman sat there, drenched and stunned, her shocked expression slowly turning into disbelief. The waiter mumbled an apology, his face pale with panic, but something about his nervousness felt off. It wasn't just an innocent mistake, there was tension in the air, like this wasn't the first uncomfortable moment of the evening. A few guests glanced over, whispering among themselves, while the restaurant manager rushed over, his face tight with forced concern. The woman, still trying to process what had happened, wiped her face and looked around, noticing how quickly the staff avoided her gaze. Was this just bad service, or was there more to the story? She took a deep breath, her confidence returning as she stood up, demanding to speak to the owner. But instead of answers, she was met with vague excuses. What they didn't know was that she wasn't someone who would let this go quietly, and justice was closer than they thought. The restaurant grew eerily quiet as the woman's demand echoed through the elegant dining hall. The manager's polite smile faded, replaced by a flicker of unease. He hesitated, then muttered, "The owner isn't available right now," before turning quickly to disappear into the kitchen. But she wasn't going to be brushed off. Determined, she followed, her soaked dress clinging to her skin, fueled not just by embarrassment, but by a sense that something wasn't right. Behind the polished facade of the restaurant, the staff exchanged nervous glances. The waiter who spilled the water paced anxiously, whispering to a colleague, "I didn't mean to. It was supposed to be a joke." But the fear in his voice suggested there was more to it. Meanwhile, a man seated in the corner had been quietly observing the scene unfold. His sharp gaze never left the woman. He wasn't just another guest. He knew exactly who she was and exactly what was about to happen. The woman stormed into the kitchen, her heels clicking sharply against the tiled floor. The staff froze mid-motion, their eyes darting between her and the waiter who had caused the scene. She demanded to see the owner, her voice firm, cutting through the clatter of dishes and sizzling pans. But instead of an apology, she was met with hesitant glances and silence. The waiter's face turned pale as the manager nervously stepped forward, attempting to calm the situation. Just then, the man from the corner entered, his presence commanding the room without a word. The staff straightened, their expressions shifting from tense to respectful. The woman, frustrated, turned to him, venting about the humiliation she'd faced. But as he listened quietly, his slight smile hinted at something more. Then he spoke softly, "I'm the owner." The room fell silent. The woman's breath caught, her confidence wavering. The tension was thick, and everyone waited to see what would happen next. The woman's face flushed with shock, her confidence crumbling as the realization sank in. But before she could respond, the owner calmly turned his attention to the waiter. "Is there something you'd like to say?" he asked, his tone gentle yet firm. The young waiter hesitated, then finally spoke up, his voice trembling. "She's been disrespectful to the staff all evening." "I didn't mean to spill the water, but—" His words trailed off, fear evident in his eyes. The owner nodded slowly, then surprised everyone by addressing the entire dining room. "This restaurant isn't just about food. It's about respect," he announced, his voice carrying across the stunned crowd. But just as the tension peaked, a second twist unfolded. A woman from another table stood up, revealing herself as an undercover food critic. She had witnessed everything. The stakes skyrocketed. Not only was the rude woman's reputation on the line, but now the restaurant's future hung in the balance too. The restaurant fell into a tense silence as the undercover food critic stepped forward, her sharp gaze shifting between the rude woman, the waiter, and the owner. "I've been observing everything," she announced, her voice calm but commanding. "And what I've seen speaks volumes, not just about the service, but about character." The rude woman's smug expression faded completely, realizing her actions had consequences far beyond this dinner. The critic turned to the owner. "Your staff handled themselves with more grace than most would under such disrespect. That speaks to strong leadership." The owner gave a humble nod, while the waiter's eyes welled with relief. Just when it seemed the situation had settled, the final twist hit. The critic revealed she wasn't just reviewing the restaurant. She was scouting potential partnerships for an exclusive hospitality project. Impressed by the owner's integrity and the staff's resilience, she offered him a life-changing business opportunity. The rude woman, she was left speechless, her arrogance costing her dignity in front of everyone. In the days that followed, the restaurant flourished like never before. The buzz from the unexpected event spread quickly, drawing in new customers eager to experience the place where integrity triumphed over arrogance. The owner, now partnered with the influential food critic, expanded his business, creating opportunities for his loyal staff, including the waiter who had endured the disrespect with grace. His resilience became an inspiration, showing that patience and professionalism can turn even the worst situations into life-changing moments. As for the rude woman, she left the restaurant that night with more than just a bruised ego. She carried the weight of her own reflection. Sometimes it takes being humbled in front of strangers to recognize the value of kindness. The story serves as a reminder that respect costs nothing but can change everything. In the end, justice wasn't just served. It was woven into every moment that followed, leaving an unforgettable impact.